this rather less impressive office is actually your apartment. So again, the plasma screen TV is taken to the logical extreme in that you have looks about a 12-foot screen to me. But this is where you live. You sit on a Renaissance couch with a little candlestick for your lamp, it seems.
You think with robot arms you would have kind of unpacked a bit? There seem to be boxes everywhere.
Yeah, I like to think that box is how you practice your box lifting skills. Because like in the first game, you can just pick up crates and shuffle them around and stack them to climb on things. This image of Adam Jensen, just sitting in his apartment lifting a box.
There's a happy abundance of kind of papers, lots of like in the office before post-it notes.
Yeah, I think that sort of hints at Sarah being, one of the sort of minds behind the innovations of his company, as well as just a good CEO. And I don't know what the hell you're scrawling on your wall since you're a security guard. Yeah, you're right. That's another thing where it's kind of the clutter motif I was talking about was basically a nod to kind of the Renaissance look, where there's just sort of ideas and books and thoughts and paper everywhere, and also to cyberpunk, where the sort of cyberpunk feel necessarily involves a lot of just junk everywhere.
Yeah.
And your lights at the top in the roof of your apartment again have that hexagon motif I was talking about, where it kind of ties into the augmentations. And the lady on the screen, Eliza, is a newscaster. We saw her in the concept art. She's definitely one of the nods to the Renaissance style, because she has these massive collar ruffs and ridiculous hair and garish pink shirt. And
just Lady
I was
Gaga.
kind of wondering, like, why have we got this concept art? Who is this woman? And then you see she's on the news. You think, okay, why the hell do we have concept art of a newscaster in this world? I mean, it's cool to get some depth, but that's kind of bizarre. But then there's a screenshot later on that kind of explains it. That, I think, is just the review from your apartment window. But it's a nice kind of overview of just what the future looks like.
Is that in Detroit, or is that...
That's the sort of thing I should probably already know, but I don't. I think, they've only talked about two cities, which are Detroit and Shanghai. Clearly you don't live in Shanghai.
Yeah.
So the logical conclusion would be that you're in Detroit, particularly since Saraf Industries are based there, and I'm pretty sure you're working for them.
Yeah.
And that, I'm pretty sure, is a limb clinic. It doesn't say that. I don't. Oh, yes, it does. On their lab coat it says limb. So yeah, limb clinics. Obviously, it's the name refers to the fact that you can get new limbs there, but also I think it's actually the company name, Limb. And I suspect either this is the intro, or more likely it's what you see each time you go to the limb clinic and get like a new robo leg or robo face,
robo little finger.
Yeah, you can get, like I say, there's social orgs and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into your brain.
What kind of social orgs are there? Things that let you talk really fast or something?
We got some slightly confusing info on that, because the gist of it is that there's these conversations that you can either win or lose, and it's if you lose, you completely close the social option for that objective. You'll never be able to talk your way out of it. But you can just persuade people to give you what they want if you choose the right tack. So you have kind of three options at each stage of these conversations, and there's one social org that lets you get a clearer idea of whether the guy is going to like something you say or not, to help you talk your way through smoothly without causing any fuss. There's another one which will, they call it the blackmail org. I'm assuming it doesn't actually blackmail them, because that would be a complex process, particularly to kind of come out of your brain.
Just money firing out your ears.
Just, anonymous ransom notes coming out of your head. But it will basically force them to tell you what they want. It's kind of like a sort of mind invasion type thing, where you can control them in some way, so you can just make them tell them the information you need, but they will be completely conscious that you're doing it. So if you do that, you're not going to get anything else out of those people, unless of course you just use the same org again.
Yeah.
But like all the orgs, it uses up energy, and it's not something you can just spam.
So can you still, if you were kind of lucky, would you be able to get through a conversation, or skillful, get through a conversation without using any social orgs and still
Yeah, totally. And for most of the game you'll be doing that. It's only if you particularly, like if you really like the talky approach but you're not actually very good at it, you might want to get this. And I think there'll be some situations where it's very hard to actually get what you want through normal talking. So the mind control sort of org would be good for that.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how I know this, but it looks like the mind control orb might be either upgradable or just very, very powerful, because I've seen him use it to do terrible things to people. I can't remember if I mentioned, but these are all screenshots now. The one of your apartment was the first of the screenshots, so everything since then is actually in game. Some of them have a very concept arty look, though, like I was saying earlier. This one is clearly the island of outside Shanghai. That's the second floor of it. You can see in the background, and it's a very actiony shot. I don't think you should be too worried that this is actually what the game's going to be like. But whenever a company is trying to promote a game, they pretty much have to make a shot with a muzzle flash in it and a bunch of guys all firing at once. If you look at the shot, in fact, every single person in the shot who has a gun is firing it at this precise moment.
3, 2, 1, shoot!
I have no idea whether they do stage these or not, but I know that in general it's not uncommon for publishers to specifically stage a shot like this. So it'll be like paused and they'll add a muzzle flash here and tweak that guy to be in this animation pose, tweak that guy to... So it's all about just making it look action-packed. Everything I saw in that 30-minute demo suggests that the player is going to die in under 2 seconds here. It's you die in like 2, 3, 4 bullets, and actually playing the game properly is all about hiding, getting people on their own, taking them out quickly and quietly, if you choose to go that route, or just avoiding them entirely.
How does shooting work then? Do you, with 3, 4 bullets, is that then health recovered automatically, or do you have to have health packs? Or
your health does regenerate, but I think it's fairly slow, so it's not like in combat or anything. You have to actually be out of combat to do it. A lot of people made a big fuss about the system, saying kind of like a Call of Duty, but to be honest, like carrying around 16 med kits and using them to recreate my arm when it was shot off in Deus Ex wasn't the most convincing or compelling part of it for me. Like, I would have quite liked if Deus Ex 1 had regenerating health. In fact, it did in the form of an org, and it was completely ridiculous because it didn't care whether you were in combat or not. It would just regenerate health all the time, and if you upgrade it to the maximum level, it just made you completely invincible.
Yeah. So
it's important not to get completely rose-tinted specs about how Deus Ex's health system worked and how well balanced that was. Particularly since when you're in infantry, you pause the game. So in the middle of a firefight, every time a bullet hit your head, you could pause the game, use a med kit on your head, go back to the game, and be invincible that way.
Reconstitute yourself. Yeah.
I think an out-of-combat health regen system makes loads more sense.
So how does the cover system, is that also something that you could use to your advantage? Is there a cover system? How does it work?
Yeah, it's third person, so it basically works like the Rainbow Six Vegas games, which is not a coincidence because a bunch of people working on this game also worked on. They actually worked on the next Rainbow Six Vegas, which I guess was aborted or never came to light because
that's a really good cover system though. The way you the holding way.
Yeah, it's the whole point of it is that you going to third person lets you see whether you actually are hidden behind this thing, exactly what angles you're hidden from, and lets you see around corners so you know whether someone's coming, which seems to work really well from all the stuff I've seen. Like Deus Ex let you do stealth and was very liberal about stealth, but the way it achieved it was just to make everyone nearly blind.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd if someone's coming down a corridor, you just walk out into the corridor, see them, then walk back, and the guy would be like, I thought I saw something, a guy in a coat. So playing this section would be all about like diving between cover and stalking these people. That bot on the left is, I think, probably going to be the bane of your life in the game.
Yeah.
It's a thing called a box guard, and they drop them in these like perfect steel cubes, and they unfold into this with 2 miniguns and big stompy legs that crush things when they stand on them. But yeah, Deus Ex has always been about like strategizing around bots. Basically, there's people are pretty easy to take down once you've got a good weapon upgraded and the skill to use it. But you always had to kind of stop and think every time you saw one of those sentry droids running around. And this is definitely plays that role in this game.
Will these be hackable like the old ones were?
Yes, I'm almost completely certain that they will be. I know that bots are hackable just in general because that's an option on a screenshot we've got of when you hack into a security system. So rather than someone's personal terminal, one of these terminals that controls all the cameras in the area, you can do everything you do in Deus Ex 1, where you can look through all the different cameras, you can turn off the cameras, you can turn the turrets off or to your side, you can turn the bots to your side. Deus Ex didn't actually have like a sort of universal system for doing that with bots, like because it was quite a rare thing. It would be on a sort of special screen of the thing, but that's just built into the interface now. And you can also do one thing you couldn't do in Deus Ex, which is when you're looking through a camera that's pointed at a specific area, you can set off the alarm there. So if you're looking at somewhere right across the other side of the facility, you can just set off the alarm there, have all the guards rush over there, and then break in through the gap that you created. And yeah, just if you look closely at the second floor in the background of the double-decker city, as they call it, what I really like about it is you can see actual skyscrapers below it. Like it's really reinforcing the idea this isn't just a little platform. There's a whole skyscraper metropolis beneath this, and then there's just another floor.
How is it suspended? Is it just massive pillars or?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've seen like giant supports for it and stuff. You can even see like a passenger jet flying underneath it on here. And then this is the cover system I was talking about. I was pretty skeptical about it. I mean, everyone is currently thinking, third-person cover, how could you? And I was the same when they actually told me about it, but seeing it in action just completely eased all my fears, basically. It just looks completely natural and just incredibly useful, basically. I mean, that situation is in that right then. If you're playing that in Deus Ex 1, you'd be just crouched behind that. You wouldn't know whether anyone's coming. And if you did lean out to look, again, they'd have to do the half-blind thing of not quite seeing you, because it would just be no fun otherwise. So enemies are allowed to be actually fairly smart without completely breaking stealth.
How does their line of sight work now? Is it a cone, or does it go all the way? Kind of, obviously in the first level of Deus Ex 1, you could see people who would be able to see you and then just duck behind a pillar.
Yeah, I don't know like the technical specifics of it, but I think they're a lot more on the ball than the Deus Ex 1 guys. One of the weirder things about Deus Ex was not only could they not kind of believe their eyes if they only saw you for a short amount of time, but they also just were incredibly myopic, so they had those big open areas, and you'd be in plain sight of about 9 terrorists when you walk out that dock on Liberty Island, and none of them can see you because you're just too far away. Which works until you think about the fact that you're seeing them, and like most of the stuff you can do involves knowing they're there and sniping them and tranquilizing them and that kind of stuff.
Can't be bothered to look that far away.
Yeah, I really like that in this shot. Even like security guards with all this high-tech augmentation stuff just set fire to a barrel for warmth.
Using the barrel to set fire org.
Yeah. So this is one of the ones I'm talking about when I say that, like, some of the screenshots look just like concept art, but I can actually believe this is a screenshot because, as I say, they put so much effort into this fogging stuff where the light will, catch the smoke around and kind of bleed out into the image. It makes it look like a render. I'm intrigued that this is Highway 17 because that seems like a nod to Half-Life 2 to me. But, this one. You just get to go in the subway. It has a very Mirror's Edgy feel to me, this, and that lighting technology I was talking about. It's not the same as what they're doing in Mirror's Edge, but it's a similar kind of idea where you want the lighting in an area to not just be isolated. You want it to kind of bleed out into everything in the area. Mirror's Edge is a really complex thing where the colours of the stuff light is shining onto reflect. So that buttercup thing you do where you put a buttercup under someone's chin, you see the yellow glow. Basically, games don't normally do that, but Mirror's Edge does. The art director for Deus Ex 3 Deus Ex Human Revolution, as it's actually called, is a huge fan of Mirror's Edge, and just is kind of in awe of what they did with that art style, and has very much tried to capture some of the sort of clean feel. And actually, I think it's one of the kind of amazing thing about Mirror's Edge to me is that it looks exactly like the concept art. Like you look at the concept art, you look at screenshot, it's like someone just sharpened it slightly. And actually, that seems to be broadly true of Deus Ex 3. Like a lot of the concept art we've seen, as I say, it's hard to tell which is which.
So the gun on that previous picture that you had, it seems to have quite a few mod points. So what kind of level can you actually mod the guns to? Was there?
Lots.
Lots of level.
They haven't. I tried to get them to talk about specifics, but they wouldn't say exactly how it works. But it's pretty similar to Deus Ex 1 in that there's laser sights, scopes, different types of ammo, and all that stuff. The demonstration we saw, the guy used an assault rifle at the end of it to shoot at this bot, and it didn't actually do much because it was a bot.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be using an assault rifle for it. But I did find out that assault rifle he was using was at the absolute maximum upgrade level. So he had every possible thing you can cram onto an assault rifle, and it makes the I'm not sure what orbit is, what modification it is that makes it more powerful, but the muzzle flash at that stage is ridiculous. It's this giant like dragon jet of red flame that completely ignites the screen, and it makes a really meaty noise as well.
So are the guns manageable now? Obviously, in the first one, you couldn't really shoot them without you.
Yeah, they've changed it so that they hit where they hit. The gun has some inherent inaccuracy that you can obviously mod out, but your own weapon skill doesn't come into it. So there's no upgrading your rifle skill or your pistol skill or anything.
I suppose with robot arms, you'd have a fairly steady aim anyway. So.
Yeah, well, that's actually one of the upgrades for the robot arms is you can have. I'm not going to call them robot arms. The strength org, I think they're called. You can have them dampen the recoil of your gun, so assault rifles and stuff don't ride up. I'm not particularly looking forward to getting seriously involved with the gunplay. The way we saw the guy play this half-hour demonstration, he rarely used guns until right at the end, and I think that was just to show us. So it was almost all melee kills, which are these cinematic kind of takedowns, and that was a kind of much more stealthy and cool way to go about it. But you can silence these with orcs, obviously, so you could play stealthy and still use guns. So this is a coroner's office, actually. You can't see it very clearly here, but it says that in the other little adjoining office that he's got there. I don't really know anything about this particular area, but it's kind of cool that you get involved in, like, when I think of sort of noir, it always involves going to a coroner's office and having a bit of
gritty conversation.
That's Alex Jensen in the foreground, obviously. You can, if you look closely, see the floral print on his shoulder pads, which is, I think I'm the only person who cared about this when I saw it, but I think it's both ridiculous, hilarious, and brilliant. Basically wearing a curtain. It's the nod to the Renaissance style that they put into the player character. You are generally just a kind of very modern-looking dude with those ridiculous shades, but they wanted some kind of element of the Renaissance style that they've talked about so much to creep into your character, and that's what they did.
Are the sunglasses that flip out, are they an org that have you and stuff?
I thought that too, but no, they're just how sunglasses work in the future. You can just like stick these little bits on. They talked about how that was supposed to represent the futuristic element on your character, and they looked at glasses and decided what was annoying about glasses. Or it's the nose, the bridge on the nose pinches you, and the arms kind of get annoying behind your ears and stuff. So they just took out both of those, and they said, and how do the little devices attach to the side of your head? I don't care.
Just glue them on.
And so this is the newsroom. I don't know why you're here exactly, but clearly there is actual combat in the TV newsroom where that newscaster I talked about earlier, Eliza, works, and that's why she's a main character. I don't know whether it's to do with one of the anti-augmentation factions wanting to get the word out about some conspiracy or something. It sort of seems logical that if you're taking over a newsroom, it's going to be to broadcast some information to the public, like it's going to be about exposing a conspiracy. And he's using a sniper rifle there. Awesome.
Can you shoot from cover? He looks like he...
Yeah, there's once you're ducked behind cover, you can I think you can blind fire, and you can certainly peek out and take pot shots like that. It's a very sort of standard cover shooter. It did look pretty good. I mean, I'm loath to admit it because I don't want to play the ethics like that, and they kind of for me, hiding behind a crate, peeking out and firing an assault rifle is why I'm not that crazy about the Call of Duty games. Like, they're really good, but it's why I don't get fired up about them in the way other people do. And so I'm not going to be doing a lot of that in Deus Ex, but I have to admit, when I saw it in action, it actually, the way it was diving behind cover was really kind of acrobatic and sort of commando-like, and all the cover-based shooting looked really kind of solid and fun.
Is the cover quite organic, or is it a lot of abundance of 3 foot high walls?
In fact, it's totally organic in that, saying you pick up crates and move them around and stuff. Yeah. You can actually use this as cover as well. Okay. So the moves when he's diving between cover looked sort of scripted because they're these perfect forward rolls or little like dives and stuff. But clearly they've accounted for every possible distance that you could be doing those between. because you can just dump stuff anywhere and use it as cover and dive from there to somewhere else.
So it doesn't have to be kind of a perfect wall for you to hide behind.
No. I said that I kind of hate cover systems in games generally because I always get stuck to them, or I stick to the wrong thing, or I don't shoot in the right direction or something. And so I kept asking the game director about the cover system, and he basically said that if you've played Rainbow Six Vegas and you hated it in that game, you'll hate it in our game. But if you liked it in that game, you'll like it here.
Yeah, conveniently it is the best cover system I think I've played. It's just the fact you get to hold it, to stay to it, rather than stick to it and have to come off it.
And I remember it being like surprisingly intuitive, given the fact that it actually completely changes the perspective of the game. It's taking you out of first person into third, but it felt like you sort of wanted to be in third person at that point. You didn't want to be staring at a crate or looking in the wrong direction or anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. So yeah, basically it looks far, far better than any of us had any good reason to suspect. They've been working on it for 3 years now, and I happen to know the producer gets really down about the fact that just everybody is hating on it, even though they haven't seen anything of it. And to be fair to the many people who were pessimistic about this, including me, I think they just chose to release the wrong information about it. Like they sort of emphasised how different it was going to be rather than how similar it was going to be. And I mean, they did say it was going to be, you're going to have lots of options and all that stuff. But saying that, it's just become so overused. Everybody says that about their game, and when they come out, they're just cover shooters. And so, I think they had a tricky challenge to convince people that they were going to stay true to that, without being able to do more than just say they would. But yeah, I'm really, really excited about it.
Yeah, it's got me worryingly excited as well now, seeing all the shots we've got.
As I mentioned, we've got lots more of screenshots and artwork to use in our feature, and the ones that are print only we can't show you here, but they're in our mag, which is on sale at the moment, and it's a mega 6-page ridiculous nerdgasm feature that I had a lot of fun writing.
Yeah, double excited on it.
Yep. And so I think that's it. So thanks for listening.
Thank you. Bye.